Welcome back to the Lars Larson Show. 9 minutes before the hour, and on the phone with me right now is Bob Weiner, who is Chief of Staff to the House Aging Committee and a member of, you're a member of the House Health Subcommittee.
Well, those were Russ, Lars. I was the Chief of Staff under the great Claude Pepper. You remember him?
I remember him, actually. I'm old enough.
Committee and House Health Subcommittee Chair, and I was his Chief of Staff.
So why do we think that this is a great idea? Here's the thing I want to ask you. I don't see how any of these mechanisms for saving money are things that happen in the short run. Now, I mean, you could pull the old flu into pneumonia one, but it's not very strong. But when you say breast cancer, so because we have better screening, because somebody else got access to a mammogram, maybe somebody's cancer was spotted earlier, but it still means that treatment occurred and that cost money. I don't see how any of that is immediately less expensive. It may be better for human health, but
if you stop cancer in advance, if you stop blood pressure, high blood pressure, if you give, which also lifestyle training, nutrition and fitness training, you're really saving lives and saving.
No, I agree with you about saving lives, but I'm not suggesting that it saves money. So, again, we're back to the same old question. How do we have a program that's going to be less expensive when, in fact, everything about it suggests that it's more expensive, even if, in theory, by covering a lot of people who were not covered before, somehow you'll get proactive health care that will save more money over the long run?
No, Lars, you're being penny-wise and pound-foolish, to be honest. These are critical issues. Any doctor, anyone will tell you that prevention is enormously cost-saving.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Long term.
I'm not disagreeing with that. But I'm also saying that that in the short run, this thing cannot save money because insuring another 30 to 40 million previously uninsured people, expensive. Insuring people with pre-existing conditions who have no insurance, expensive. Adding on additional things that you're going to cover that are mandated in every policy adds expense regardless. And saying that we're going to not limit lifetime caps, that's not very expensive because it really doesn't hit that many people because there are very few people who run up $1 million or $2 million worth of. But when you do get an occasion like that, it costs money. So all of those things are things that push the health insurance premiums up, not down.
Here's where you're wrong. The volume and the pools are so feared by the insurance companies who are making hundreds of millions of dollars. They contributed $500 million to campaigns, and that's just what they contributed to campaigns. They are making so much money that they want nothing to do with this bill. They hate it. They want to run for cover. They want to block it. They want to stop it, and they tried and they failed in the Congress when it was passed. The reason is because we pay twice as much because of the insurance middleman as any other country on earth. This bill takes a modest step toward stopping that with the 8% requirement that the care has to
I want
go
to follow
for.
your logic on this. The insurance companies have a law that they hate because it requires everyone to buy their product because
At
through
volume,
hold on. It requires everyone to buy their product. It requires that you do proactive things that safeguard your health, which means the insurance companies will have to pay out fewer claims. And that's why they hate it, because it makes everyone buy their product and their net long-term costs go down?
You've reached the compromise. That's exactly right. This was Bob Dole's proposal to drive through the middle. People who say Obamacare socialist. This is a private
Then why do the
sector-
insurance companies hate it?
It's a private sector bill, no question about it, but they still hate the requirements in it. So this bill is a
I hate the
really
requirements in it.
Balance. It's a compromise bill.
I got to tell you something.
Single payer. It doesn't have the Medicare buy-in. It isn't socialized medicine. It's drive through the middle. It was Obama's plan, not Hillary's plan, which was through the insurance companies. But the insurance companies still, while they bought in the beginning, they hate the fact that it makes them do these requirements, and now they're trying to wiggle their way into making more money out of it.
And this is before we've even got to the question, Bob, of why the Constitution or whether the Constitution even allows the federal government to make me do anything of the sort.
Well, it does.
It does where? Where does it say that?
The welfare clause is balanced here because it takes the well people to pay for the sick people, and that's what makes it interstate commerce. It's an interstate commerce provision.
Except that interstate commerce is about regulating commerce. If I sit in my home state and I don't buy any insurance, what commerce am I engaging in that the government is regulating?
Well, I want to be honest with you on this. I think
I'll bet you agree with me.
I think this is one of the weaker of the Democrats' points, and I think they have a real chance of losing the case, the constitutional case of the mandate in court.
Thank God.
But even if that were to occur, which I think, for the general welfare is okay, but at the same time, if we do lose, it really only affects about 4% of the people, according to the calculations that most people have made now. So it doesn't kill the bill, but it would take away the mandate if we lose the court case.
Don't you find it frightening, the idea that you've asserted that the federal government, to provide for the general welfare, has the right to either tell me I must buy something or tell me I can't buy something? Does that not sound like a scary level of power for a federal government?
Not when you consider the general welfare is so necessary here, given the insurance companies' rip-off, and we were dying financially. Talk about the debt. Talk about the deficit, which conservatives really want to address.
And you don't think
didn't want to address it in health care, which is 1/6 of our economy.
You don't think that if we limited the trial lawyers, if we allowed cross-state sales,
that's 0.5% of it. You've got a point, and I've said on the radio, we should have compromised on tort reform on this in some way. And
there wasn't even a kiss to tort reform in there, was there?
Obama said he would go along with it, but the Democrats in Congress did not. So I cede your point on that one also. See how reasonable I am?
Yes, you're very reasonable, except on that. I don't want the government to tell me what I have to buy for my own good. I don't think it's any of their business.
But the provisions in this bill, Lars, it took so long coming. You mentioned I was chief of staff of the Aging Committee. Claude Pepper, his dream was national health insurance. We took a little step toward it through the private sector, granted, not a Medicare buy-in, not a single payer, but we took a little step toward it with this bill, and it's going to help a lot of people.
Okay. Will Harry Reid allow a vote? Quick, I've got 10 seconds.
Well, yeah, but it's going to lose. The Senate won't win this vote. The House will pass it, but the Senate will lose it.
My understanding is he's already said he won't even allow a vote. Bob, it's a pleasure to have you on. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much for having me, Lars.
Love to have nice naysayers on the program. Coming up on the top of the hour, send those emails, talk@larslarson.com on Compass.